current. And we always try and look for themes that we think are meaningful to our audience, the investment community, local and international. And really, we've seen, since last year, a change on the political front, and a number of strong headwinds that have made all of us step back and think things have changed quite fundamentally. And there's a new reality, perhaps, that we must begin to adjust and see how can we, despite those challenges, find a way to sort of navigate in the new environment. And when I say the new environment, that is referring to oil prices in particular. How do we find ways to sort of rebuild the economy despite that new reality? So that's why we felt, we need to be, in the past we've spoken about sectors that are catalytic to development. We've looked at how the private sector can get more engaged and be empowered. But this time around, we felt it was important to, take a step back, look at the new reality and see how can we begin to navigate through.
So in terms of the minister's comments today at the event, how satisfied are you with what they are doing in terms of policy adjustments and trying to meet up the demands of the economy and investors?
I think there is probably the last thing people want to hear, but again, a reality is we must be patient. You cannot transform structurally overnight. Sometimes it's generational. But we must begin that journey. And I think what we heard from the minister today gave a lot of people encouragement. I think he was very clear that they have been thinking and they have been putting together a plan. And it's now about implementation. And the pivot towards getting the private sector more engaged. As he also said, there is nothing new if you look globally. People have been through this. So why, whilst we must have solutions that are unique to our environment, there's a lot of lessons that we can gain from looking at, at other countries. So, for me, it's very encouraging, to see that the government, it would appear they have a plan. So it's about implementation now. And it's about how can the private sector engage effectively. And I think a lot of us in the private sector, there will be always one or two who will be cynical. But I think it's incumbent on us to really, if the government is saying we need to work with you to make this happen, it's incumbent on us to go and sit down and determine exactly how that exchange will take place, even more than we've done before.
You're corroborating what the minister has said, patience. How much of patience should investors have?
I remember I did say that we need to be patient. Things do not change overnight. What investors need is certainty, stability. You cannot say there is certainty and stability if you watch something move for 3 months. You have to watch it move for 6 to 9 months before you can say to yourself, okay, things are becoming a bit more stable. So I think some of the policies that have been put in place, even the liberalization of the FX, this is in the right direction. But we need a little bit of time, in fairness. And, the truth is, we recognize that, and we must never be deluded that we're the only game in town. Investors have options. I think the Honorable Minister said it himself. Money goes where it's wanted. So, at the end of the day, we must remember that we need to put in place things that are encouraging stability and a bit of certainty, and the money will come.
You need to be really patient. So that's preaching patience there by Kayode Akikugbe, who is the Chief Executive Officer at FBN Merchant Bank. We'll take a break. When we come back, Guinness Nigeria is already spoiling the market for the first trading day in the new week. Stick around with the numbers. Guinness Nigeria is opening up the new trading week, not in a very nice way, but a very bitter one. 2.2 billion naira loss in the first quarter ended September for these brewing giants. That's quite a very nasty way to get started. In the same period last year, Guinness was reporting about 362 million naira in profit. So how the things fell out of the bottle for these brewing giants? Let's get a sense of the final trading day in October, leading us to the first full trading week in November. Rotimi Fakaijo is a trader and chief executive officer at Enterprise Stockbrokers. He's joining us via phone for this few minutes conversation. Very important to wrap up the show. Rotimi, good morning. Thanks for coming through.
Good morning, both.
So Guinness is a spoiled spot to start the market today, isn't it?
Yes, it's a very bad one coming from Guinness. And it's not really doing well for now, although there hasn't been any significant reaction on the stock. But I think definitely the market is going to take its pound of flesh from that particular stock today as a result of the figures.
The market took some pound of flesh from Guinness last week, 3.61% red. It looks like the market already sniffed around that, look, Guinness is going to come in a little bit nasty because, of course, Nigerian breweries didn't do too well either. So last week, Guinness was down on the trading board almost 4%.
Yes, definitely. We've not really been seeing good figures coming from the manufacturing sector. This one that is coming, we believe that maybe they will have put their acts together and at least they should be able to show something very small positive figures. That is Guinness, but it's quite a different ball game. We have seen an increase in the top line from 21.7 to 23 billion, but a decline in the first week from 0.36 billion naira down to 2.222 billion naira loss. And I think that is really a bad one. But the market is definitely going to react accordingly.
Rotimi, a very quick question. I know it's very important. Where did this money go? Where did this money go as far as Guinness is concerned? 2.2 billion in that period. That's a lot of money.
Well, I think from what we can see from the figures, the finance cost actually did increase. We are seeing a situation whereby the finance cost for the same period in 2015 was 1.096 billion. But this time around, we are seeing a figure of 3.65 billion. That is almost an increase of about 180%.
Wow.
And to me, I believe it's not really healthy for that company for now.
Yeah, it looks like almost all the industrial companies on the market are complaining about finance costs because of exchange rates and what have you. This looks like a classic example from Guinness Nigeria, isn't it?
Yes, it's not really a very good one. But I think that also is translating to a very good one for the banking sector because all of them are shooting very excessive profit. And I think what we are losing from the manufacturing, I think the market, the banking sector is smiling home with a gain.
Yes. It looks like one man's poison is another man's food here. Okay, let's keep our eyes on the rest of the week. Thank you so much, Rotimi Fakaijo, for coming through on the phone this morning. We appreciate that. Rotimi Fakaijo is a trader and chief executive officer at Enterprise Stockbrokers, starting the week for us. You heard the numbers, not a good way to start, but we have to say goodbye October at this point. Thank you, everyone. Tomorrow is the 1st of November. We'll be here at 10 o'clock in the morning. Tomorrow is a very important policy dialogue about the state of Nigeria's FX. The Nigeria Economic Summit Group with the Central Bank and the DFID are having this tripartite tomorrow conversation. I hope to be there, and we will talk more about that in the next 24 hours. Do stick around for news at the top of the hour. This is Nigeria's news leader, Channels Television. We thank you very much for watching. I'll see you again.